That being said, podcast with JAA. I am the here and now of podcasting, JAA. And we are on episode number 5 of the podcast. Coming at you today on a Monday, hoping that you had yourself a wonderful weekend. A weekend of relaxation, of rejuvenation, of refreshing yourself inside and out. And we are in times where some of us are laid off. And we're not necessarily out there working week to week, but I still hope you had a wonderful weekend of self-discovery, of time with your families, time to look at this week anew, inspired for what's ahead. Today, we have Bl8ke G, Bl8ke G, and he is on with me, and we are talking about his new album that comes out May the 8th, this Friday, called Lost in Translation. And we talk about the record, but one thing I really like about this album is he was very versatile in his approach. He didn't just approach this as a hip-hop record, but from his beats to even the way that he sings on different songs, he really tried front to back to do a different kind of album and draw from different influences, which leads a little bit to something I wanted to talk about today. I think oftentimes musicians get caught in a bubble. They get caught in a bubble, and it could happen in this scene as well. And you find yourself painting with the same tools over and over. What do I mean by that? Well, it becomes formulaic over time. You have a beat, ultimately, and the singing. How do you differentiate that from other artists? How do you differentiate that song to song? And when you put out an album, how do you differentiate that throughout 12 songs and tell a cohesive story? How do you tell a cohesive story? I think that one thing that's helped me in my journey of being a writer is if I'm writing, let's say, in metal, when I'm writing a metal song, a metal record, I don't listen to metal very much while I'm actually in the writing process. As a matter of fact, I try to stay away from anything heavy. I start listening to things like reggae, acoustic music, church music, different influences. And then they naturally seem to find their way trickling into what I write. Subconsciously, oftentimes, not even consciously. And I find that it makes the music more versatile. And here's the thing, very much like hip-hop, metal can very much be a repetitive type of genre of music. A lot of bands have such similar production, it gets hard to differentiate one from another. And trust me, I have heard album after album, single after single, from 2015 to 2020, it could go back even further, where I really don't know the difference from one song to another because they're just not memorable. They don't stick with me. It very much sounds like something I've heard before. But hip-hop can fall into that trap as well. And I want to see artists in this scene color outside the lines. You see, it's like I've seen your Mona Lisa on page 1. I've seen your Last Supper on page 2. But I don't want to see the Mona Lisa in a different color palette on page 3. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see the Last Supper recolored on page 9. I don't want to see that. I want to see what's the next drawing you have for me. What do you have for me next that's different from the last thing you did, especially with a record? Now, it's a 50-50 thing. To a degree, you want to write for your audience, of course. You want to write songs for your audience that they can get behind. Of course, that's where the whole singles and records come from. You try to write a song that's going to be friendly for the radio or friendly for a more mainstream audience, and I understand that. And I don't discourage that. But at the same time, I really wonder with some artists, are you writing for just your audience or are you writing for yourself? Now there's a double-edged sword when you do that. Because when you write for yourself, the downside is you may very well not be connecting to anybody with the music that you're deciding to write. You may isolate the audience that you've built, or no one will get behind songs on your record. But on the other hand, you are true to your own vision. You're happy with what you're doing. You're very much satisfied with your writing. And the truth is, people may get behind what it is that comes to you more naturally. Instead of sitting and saying, look, I gotta have the hype song. I gotta have the emotional song. I gotta have the collaboration. They're all good to have, and there's always good formulas for go-tos along the way. But I encourage artists to definitely broaden their canvas. Don't be afraid to draw from other styles of music. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to, say, throw a scream or to grunt a little bit on a record just because it's hip-hop and you're really not supposed to do that. Yes, you can. Who says that you can't? Who says that you can't? Who says that you have to have the hype song on your record? Who says that you have to have the emotional song on your record? Who says that you have to collaborate? All of these are rules that have been made up over time. You're an artist. Creatively, you control what goes out there, what the audience gets to hear. Take control of your vision. You have to a degree, write for yourself as far as trying to fulfill your creative vision as an artist. Stay true to you and just don't be afraid to experiment. It's okay to feel like something maybe didn't work out, but you have to try. You have to try. Don't stick to any formula or script. Stick to what you feel is staying true to yourself as an artist and try to be creative, because that's what this is all about, man. It's about being creative. It's about letting our creative juices flow. And what makes us unique, artist to artist, is how those juices flow and how we approach it. That being said, a little bit of a rant, but I feel very passionate on this topic, and I'll probably break into it more. I'm going to be speaking Mondays on different topics. It'll be anything from music to wrestling, etc., etc. I put out a tweet last week. I got a few responses, but I want some more feedback. What are some topics you'd like me to dive into? What are some topics you'd like me to speak on? Let me know using the hashtag TBS Podcast. My @ is right there on the screen. I made sure to put it there. Let me know what you want me to discuss in future Monday episodes of the That Being Said podcast. Now we got Bl8ke G on, and we are talking about his record, Lost in Translation. Again, May the 8th, this Friday, on all streaming platforms. It comes out to all of you. Here's my conversation with Bl8ke G. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the That Being Said podcast with JAA. I am the here and now of podcasting. It's my new thing. Get used to hearing it. JAA, your host, and right now I have with me my good friend Blake, fellow New Yorker. What up, brother?
What's going on, man? Good to see you, man.
We're breaking rules right now by doing that.
I know. We pretend you didn't see that.
Pretend you didn't see that at all. But yeah, we're here to talk about your new record, Lost in Translation. When does it drop? Friday?
When does it drop? Yes, Friday, May 8th, midnight.
Midnight
Release.
So what is it, Thursday into Friday, midnight?
I suppose so, yeah. Well, as soon as it turns Friday, hey, tune in.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
Because,
Other time zones, I don't know, but...
You know, somewhere it'll be 11.
Somewhere
it'll be 10. Somewhere it'll be 9.
But once it's 12...
It's on.
It's there.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on. So this is your first record?
First debut album. Yeah. Before it's been
awesome.
like EPs, mixtapes, you know, but this one I was gonna call it a mixtape, but then I was like, you know what? Everything has like a common theme to it. Everything has like, it's just so cohesive. I'm just gonna call it an album.
What kind of styles were you trying to draw on here?
What kind of styles? So I just wanted to show versatility. It's kind of funny. When I first started this, I was trying to go for like an all metal rap record. Every song on it was guitars, and I was just gonna be doing heavy stuff. And then as it came on, like in the lyrics I was writing, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do just whatever the writing tells me to do. And then one thing led to another, and I just went going from style to style. I was doing some singing, I was doing some, more melodic stuff. I was doing some heavy stuff, more storytelling stuff. And it may seem all over the place, but in the end, it is a cohesive project. And I was just trying to show off my story, what's been going on in my life, and the styles just kind of came naturally. It wasn't really anything I was trying to go for. It was just, whatever the music told me to do.
Nice. How many tracks we got?
We got 11 tracks.
Any of them out now?
Yes, we got 2 tracks out right now. We have How to Drive, which is track 4, and Human Centipede, which is track 9.
Oof.
Yeah.
Human Centipede.
Human Centipede. That was just kind of a fun track.
Ah.
Yeah.
What are you doing, like the Nirvana Mr. Mustache thing? They used to do a thing where they would put out a song and they try to name it something that had nothing to do with the song whatsoever.
Well, I mean, I tried to keep it. Are we allowed to curse?
Oh.
Okay. So yeah. So I was just thinking of lines. Well, funny story. So I release a song every month on the 8th. So it was the 7th of this current month, and I didn't have any songs that I was like ready to release. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and write something today. And for some reason, like at that point in time, I was just looking up like weird fucking videos. So I was like, Human Centipede was just on my mind. So I was like, all right, you rappers are full of shit. Human Centipede. I was like, that's funny. And then so I just made that like into the chorus, and then I wrote the song and I released it in one day. So and everyone loved it, which is kind of funny because it's the song I put like the least effort into, but. That's how it goes sometimes.
I feel like that is how it goes. Like, how many times you've been in the situation where you sat with writer's block over one song, and then how many times it come to you in like 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, no, this is literally the worst. Like, if you're not an artist, you don't understand this. This comes with playing music and writing, instrumentals, whatever. Is like you can't force it out of you, so you can't just sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna write the song today, because sometimes that's just not how it, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can write a song in one day. It's just flowing. I'm just like, I got all these crazy ideas. And sometimes a song will be in the making for 4 months, because I just can't think of the lines. I'll be sitting there for hours and I will get one line done. So it is a tough process. It's no way of guessing it. Writer's block is literally the worst. I
had a funny moment in Ohio last year. I was visiting with Kendra's family, and I got the lyrics come to me for a Medicine Spoon song. We've been playing it forever, but I never really put down the lyrics. And I really wanted to write a rap part, and it finally came to me. I started getting it. It was like, outside looking in, is it because of my sin? And I'm writing it down. It was just coming to me. And Kendra's niece started running into the room, and she kept wanting to talk to me. And I was like, Sam, you got to give me a few minutes. And I stepped outside, and she comes outside, and she starts talking to me. Next thing you know, I got through some of it, but that was it. Like, she had killed the moment.
Right.
And that was it. The song didn't get finished.
Yeah.
It didn't get finished, not till much later. But when it comes to you gotta go for it. I have a rule with Kendra. She knows this. If I'm like, yo, I'm writing, like, she literally knows not to fuck with me.
No, yeah, because once you're in the zone, you don't want to get out of that zone. You're just like, once you're in it, you're like, I'm just not gonna stop until I'm burned out.
Yeah, like a lot of times the best shit I've written is from, it came to me, I wrote it down in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously I'll fine tune it later, but it's got to come out at that moment when
Yeah.
it hits me. You're right. You can't pick that.
My mom
time.
gets ticked off of me sometimes because she'll like walk in my room and like tell me something. I'm like, Mom, not right now.
Yeah.
You gotta chill.
Give me some space.
I know. You gotta leave me alone for like 5 minutes. Just let me get this line out.
Oh, it's important though, and everyone has a different process. What is part of your process? Do you think there's anything unique with the way that you approach, whether it be writing or just how a beat might resonate with you?
Right. So first I'll just look at the beats, scroll through YouTube, because I do my own production sometimes. Like there'll be certain tracks where I'll put like certain elements in, but for the most part I'll work with my friends or I'll just search online where I can purchase beats or blah blah blah. So I'll be scrolling through, and then if I find something that resonates with me, I can a topic will instantly come to my head. I won't just like get a beat and I'll be like, all right, what do I want to talk about? I'll just listen to the beat and I'll be like, okay, I'm getting this vibe from it. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. So then once I get that, then that's what I base it off of. I just write down topics related to that, words, blah, 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 that I want to mention. And that's how I get started with the writing process. But also when it comes to writing, just listening to artists, every day I go for a walk and I just listen to music and just try and clear my mind, and that'll give me an idea. And an idea that I'll hear from an artist may give me a totally polar opposite idea on paper. But I'm like, oh, that's something I want to do. But then I go home and it's something completely different. But just listening to music and listening to beats, it can really speak to you. Some people just hear the song and that's it. But for, us musicians, it can kind of do something different. It does a little more where you kind of feel emotions and you feel something. And that's how you get started writing with it.
You try to visualize the song, not just with your ears, but it's like you almost see it sometimes.
Yeah, there was this, I don't know, there's like this condition, I think lots of musicians have it, where it's like if you listen to like a song, you can like see colors with it. I don't know, so like, I don't know, a lot of musicians tend to have this condition because it's like music like hits them in a different way where they can like see images and colors when a song comes on. That's like, like they said, like slower songs, you tend to see like blues or darker colors, whatever. I don't know it too much, but the point is like, when I hear a song, it does a lot. It's not just like I go on the radio, hear a song, okay, and then that's it. And then it goes to the next song, and that's all it did. It does something in your mind, like subconsciously, where it's like, wow. And that's how it can inspire writing in lots of ways, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's important to try to recognize those ways and try to figure out the process. The process, it's interesting. It's always changing.
Yeah.
So for this album, Lost in Translation, first of all, where can people find it after midnight?
After midnight?
On the 8th.
On the 8th, right as it turns Friday. All platforms. This one, I don't release all my music on all platforms because sometimes, you know, I just don't feel like it's ready. But this project is just so full and it's so ready. I was like, all right, you know, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you have. I'm ordering physical copies too. Those are not going to be available on the 8th, you know, because Corona, it's hard to order physicals like that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But,
I don't order anything.
Yeah. But we're getting those physicals. But all streaming platforms, if you just type in Bl8ke G, you're going to be able to find it. I want this to be everywhere. So hopefully, if you got a streaming platform, you'll be able to find it.
I'm going to put that link down there also for anybody watching the
Click that link.
podcast. Click that link. If you're listening to the podcast, then, well, come find us on YouTube. We'll have it. Nah, find you on Twitter. What's your tag?
Twitter at Bl8ke G. That's BL8KEG. That's for all social media.
All across the board. Now, I don't have that luxury. I'm Medicine Spoon NY on Twitter, and it used to be Unstable NY because I can't get... first of all, I couldn't get Unstable. The only account with Unstable was made in 2008. It was one of those egg accounts.
Oh, that's the worst.
Somebody made it, never used it, all right? And I fought Twitter for this forever, and they just would not let it go. Then Medicine Spoon, there's a Medicine Spoon, and it's like similar situation. It's a not used account, and they won't let it go. I tried to do JAA. There was a J freaking AA, so I just couldn't win. So Medicine Spoon NY, and with the name JAA is good enough.
Right.
And then my YouTube's a whole other mess because I actually have probably one of the oldest YouTube accounts because I made it right at the beginning of YouTube. I didn't upload stuff.
What
back
year?
then,
Like 05, 06, 07?
December 04.
04.
I think December 04, if I'm not mistaken.
You're an OG.
Oh, for real. Like, I made YouTube the second I saw it. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was a MySpace,
Right. Me too.
guy. So, I think MySpace is how I've kind of gotten to YouTube.
Right.
So, yeah, OG. I think there's some videos on my playlist that got like that 13 years old. I remember when the first videos would turn 10 years old. You'd be like, 10 years old?
Yeah, no, me too. Because when I was younger, I went to like Disney with my parents. Like they showed me like Power Rangers, or whatever, and it got 100,000 views. Because back then, when you searched up Power Rangers, it was like 10 videos.
Yeah,
that was it. That was it for Power. And now it's like 1 million.
Yeah.
Now it was like 10 videos, and I remember when I was younger, I would like watch the same 10 videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of views because I was just like one of the first Power Ranger videos to be uploaded on YouTube. But it's kind of funny because like to see an OG and like see how many years have passed, it's like what the hell?
It's insane. I mean, I wish I could say I was uploading. I have some stuff from 07 up on my page that I just refused to take down, and it was some recordings in this very studio, and obviously it was a way different setup, way less professional back then. It was my first metal band, and I got no shirt on. I think I was 15, and I'm doing this stupid day. Still make fun of me, my friends, for this, where I'm going, oh, trying to look badass.
Like the crab walk or
whatever. Some version of it. So yeah, that was back in the day. But yeah, it's an ever-evolving thing, though. We evolved so much in such a short time.
You're a little older than me, but we kind of have the same growing up, in that aspect, I should say.
Well, New Yorkers too.
Yeah,
man. We have such stuff in common that the listeners may not be able to understand. It's a very unique
life in New York is so much different than other life on America.
It really is.
Like you talk to someone out of New York.
Family outside of this different states.
A little bit, yeah.
I do, like scattered around Kentucky, Jersey, Florida. It's night and day when I go there. Kendra in Ohio and Indiana, it's night and day.
Right. Yeah, I know. You talk to them, it's just like it's totally different lifestyle, especially like New York City.
Yeah.
You haven't experienced life unless you kind of spent some time in New York City.
I worked on Times Square for 2 years.
Yeah, that gives you a reality check.
42nd and 7th.
Yeah.
Like, you know where that Chase building is? Yeah, I was right at the corner. I was working for Quicksilver.
Right.
And that was, let me tell you about life experience. And, and I learned the city quick doing that.
Oh,
and I saw the darkest sides of the city because I work overnights for some of it.
Oh, right. So you're getting the night crowd.
Talk about 18 years old getting slapped with what the real world looks like a little bit.
Once the tourists are gone.
Oh. They say the city never sleeps. First of all, not completely true. The city sleeps to a degree, but the people who ain't sleeping,
yeah.
Like you got your 1, 2 a.m. crowd that's been drinking and stuff to go home. But that 3, 4 a.m. crowd.
Yeah, that's when you start. That's the area you do not want to mess with.
You do not want to mess with, or, you just would rather stay the hell away from it. Some weird
city,
stories.
So every major city is kind of like that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
But New York City is like you're gonna get the biggest reality check.
Oh,
if you don't
for
live
sure.
near,
if you don't live here, especially.
If you don't live near a major city, then it's like your life is completely different.
Exactly.
Like your whole like way, like New York are fast. Like we move fast.
Yeah. You know, obviously it's probably different town to town, but it really can be like that. I get criticized all the time that I talk too fast.
Yeah.
I get criticized all the time that I walk. Like I freak some people out. Like especially like when I go to Indiana or Ohio, they're like, slow down, dude. Like slow down. Like I literally make people nervous, and I don't think anything of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because when I went to nationals competition, it was every state, and like we're the weirdo. I'm the weirdo.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking there, and I'm like using. I remember I was talking with like my friend, and we were talking about like, oh yeah, so and so has beef with someone, and they thought we were talking about like the meat. they don't know. They don't know.
Oh snap.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We talk fast, we're walking fast, and it's just a totally different type of life.
I remember being like, yo, I'll bust you down, and they were like, excuse me? Like, I'll bust you down, don't spark that. I want to spark a cigarette. I'm like, no, I'll give you a bust down. They're like, what is a bust down? I'm like, a half a cigarette. Like, stuff like that, and you don't realize it's not used everywhere.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah, no, every state has different slang, but New York is kind of the biggest outlier.
Yeah.
Of lifestyle.
But what's funny too is that in New York we get crap, like, so not even crap. We always get, I'm sure you get this when you talk to someone from another state, they're like, you're from New York? Like,
yeah.
Some people get blown away. Not everyone does, obviously, but I always get that no matter where I go.
Yeah, like you're a national treasure or something.
Like you're from that land far, far away. Like,
do you ever people ever say you have like a New York or a Long Island accent?
Oh, I get New York accent all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten Long Island specifically, but
my mom gets that all the time.
But I feel like it's somewhat got.
It's crazy though because we don't realize we have accents.
No, not even a little bit.
You know, we're just talking, but you go outside of New York and then they're like, "Oh, you have a New York." I was like, "What?"
I hear like the stereotypical New York accent. I don't think I fit that, but I use a lot of slang. I curse a lot, and as a preacher, it's really funny, and people are really shocked when they hear that. But
right.
They're really shocked. But I think that when I hear a stereotypical New York slang, I'm like, I don't sound anything like that. But
yeah, you don't think you do until people call it out. I don't think I have a New York accent. And they're like, oh, you sound like you're from New York or blah, blah, blah. Even Long Island, I don't even know how they know I have a Long Island accent. But they're like, you have a Long Island accent. I'm like, all right. I didn't know.
Right? Like Manhattan, I say Manhattan. But like I guess I don't pronunciate the T heavy. And it's pointed out. I'm like, yeah, I used to work in Manhattan. And they're like, Manhattan. I'm like, okay, you know.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that because it's just how we live. This is how we say things.
It's just what it is, and obviously every place got its own sector. And obviously, like if I showed up in Chicago, I don't know that city, I'd probably be kind of shook. I'm not shook anywhere in New York City at any time.
Yeah.
Or Brooklyn or any of the boroughs because I'm used to the boroughs, like in traveling the boroughs. I've done it my whole life. I went to college in Brooklyn. I've worked in Queens and Staten Island. Like actually, that was like a big life goal of mine when I was 18. I said I want to work in every borough, and I've done almost all of them. The only one I haven't worked in yet is the Bronx.
No, you gotta do the Bronx.
You know, like I
don't know what you would do in the Bronx, but preaching. Oh, right,
like,
yeah.
It's actually common for preachers, especially younger preachers, to get assigned out to the Bronx. It's not necessarily the most desirable area to be assigned.
Right, because like, why would you just want to do that just to do it? You know, like, what's the benefit? Unless you had a good opportunity to go.
Weird flex.
Yeah.
Weird flex. I've worked in all 5 boroughs.
Every borough.
I don't know. It's important to me in a weird way. You know, just
hey,
like,
why not?
Just like I sacrificed 2 years to work on Times Square. It wasn't an impressive job, but I could say I worked Times Square for 2 years.
You got to experience that life, you know.
Absolutely, and I was in between touring and all that crap at the time, so it was a cool time thing.
Yeah, you gotta live. You gotta check out different aspects. You can't get stuck in the same cycle every day.
Absolutely. And so you're going to hear a lot more from myself and Blake Bl8ke because we will go on all day, and we will because we're going to be doing an interview as well. But tune in for that interview. I don't know the date right now off the top of my head, but we are having an interview, and it will be on the That Being Said podcast coming up.
Yes, sir.
But I really wanted to get you on to talk about Lost in Translation. I want the people to know what's going on, and I really want everyone out there to please support this man and this record. He put a lot of hard work into it. It's different.
Please.
It's different than a lot of the stuff you guys have been hearing.
Yes.
From the different guests you guys have heard so far on this show. All very talented and have their own styles. Well, Blake has his own style as well. And support him. He's up and coming. He opened up for Crypt and Mac Lethal over in Brooklyn 2 months ago. Very talented.
2 months ago, my God.
It's already been 2 months, man.
Right? Crazy.
Nuts.
Time flies.
Oh, it feels
Corona,
like it was
man.
a couple weeks
Every
ago.
day is just flying by.
That's true, man. It's going by like lightning too.
Yeah.
But some days feel long, like really long too.
Yeah. Depends what you're doing. Depends how productive you are, you know?
Yeah, that's
some days
true.
just fly by, and my sleep schedule is just fucked. So
Yeah.
a lot of days have been flying by for me personally.
I had a problem getting out an episode last Friday, and that day went by like this because I'm stressing out trying to get this damn episode out. But the next day was like slow as can be.
Yeah, if you don't have anything to do, it's longer. But if you're you're working on something, it goes.
Yeah, especially when you have like deadlines. Forget it.
Oh yeah.
College was the worst like that. I swear, I feel like it was the longest day ever. Like when you're actually on campus, but the days in between you got to get this stuff done would be just like nightmarish.
Yeah, I mean with this project too, like getting it on the 8th. Like at first I was like, I have so much time. But now it's like once it gets closer and like you're like revising things and then you're getting technical difficulties. It's like you're like, I gotta sit down and grind, and it got stressful in these last the last days like leading up to the 8th.
Yeah,
like down to the wire.
And like you gotta not only release this album like and be done with it before the 8th, obviously, but you have to promote it now. You gotta get the word out.
Yeah,
and you try to promote it, but like God forbid you had not been able to finish it in time.
Right.
It's like what do you do?
Yeah, yeah, because for lots of these projects, if you don't know, like you have to finish it like a week or at least a week in advance. You know, a lot of people finish it a month in advance.
Yeah.
So the deadline is the 8th, but really the deadline for me was a week ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you have to get I'm gonna be behind on the physical copies because I didn't get it done in time. Because, I'm going to get it like a week after the project's released. But, for these bigger artists, they have to have the project done, a month or two in advance. And they may make the release date, and they won't even be done with the project.
Oh, yeah. I actually, without blowing any spots, I actually am knowledgeable about a few people that we actually know out there that have done that very thing. And the album wasn't necessarily fully written.
Yeah.
I know that Joey and Crypt, and he told this story on the podcast, with the sky, when the sky turns red, they talked about it, they announced the date, and then the album they didn't have any songs yet. And
really?
They pretty much wrote the album in like, I think he said like 4 or 5 days, like essentially. And it's a great record.
Yeah.
So that's a testimony to
It's so odd that they would announce it like that though.
They trusted themselves in their ability to do it.
I guess they probably just wrote a lot of stuff and they decided to get it down or
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Weird. And the week thing you got to keep in mind too. It's also because I don't think you would have had the time to do an album right now without this situation.
Yeah, I mean the coronavirus. I mean, listen, say what you want about it, but for stuff like this, it gives you a lot of time. It's a true testament to how hard you're willing to work.
Yeah,
because everyone has nothing but time. So if you're an artist and you're not working right now, then you don't want it enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. So if you you need to use if you're an artist, you need to use this time to work on your stuff, promote your stuff, get it out there because there's literally no excuse right now.
Oh, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Time is always our biggest excuse for anything, whether it's an artist or just in life in general.
Yeah, it's like I got all this stuff going on.
All of a sudden, we've been given this mixed blessing of sorts, at least on a creative end, to get things done. I don't think I could have kicked this podcast off the same way without this going on because no one would have been available.
Right, yeah. This would have been a totally different story of when we were available. We have different schedules, but right now it's just,
yeah,
we're chilling.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to continue chilling and we are going to continue chilling and we are going to move on with the episode, but we will hear from Blake again soon. Lost in Translation comes out Friday, May 8th, midnight. So it's Thursday into Friday. So the 7th into the 8th at midnight on all your streaming platforms. Bl8ke G, and go and support. Subscribe to his channel, and again, I will have all the links available to you all. So Blake, thank you for being on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And the people got a lot more to hear.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned.
Thank you everybody for tuning in for my conversation with Blake G, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the That Being Said podcast. We will be back on Friday with another interview. And this week, we have HOLLA at KRAZY in the house. And we had a great conversation. We talked about the reaction community. We talked about the hip-hop community. We talked about his career, how he came up on YouTube, some of the music that he's done. A lot of people not aware he himself is an artist. came up in battle rap. So we're going to talk about all of those different things. That's going to be Friday's episode of the That Being Said podcast. Make sure you tune in for my interview with HOLLA at KRAZY. And we have a lot of announcements. If everything goes according to plan this week, I'm going to be announcing 3 upcoming guests on Friday. But it's one of those things we're going to wait and see, like Slipknot says. That being said, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all from the here and now of podcasting JAA. Until next time.